Hello and welcome to the Hawkview Collector 4.1.1.0 release summary video. In this video, we will be looking at what features have been added and changed in Hawkview Collector version 4.1.1.0 up from version 4.0.1.0. The first thing that's new is you can now launch Hawkview Collector from a workspace file simply by double-clicking on it. This will open Hawkview Collector with the said workspace preloaded and is ready to use. The next thing that was added or modified is the OPC acquisition configuration window. What was modified is this section that used to be a tree view is now a simple list view. And this was done because the control previously limited the number of items at one level to approximately 30,000. And for OPC servers that have potentially hundreds of thousands of items top level, it became problematic. So with this configuration, with this format, we can now browse OPC servers that have many high-level items with no problem. Simply click on the item you want. For instance, bold indicates branch. You can browse through the branch with your current location indicated on top. And once you've found the item you want, the button becomes add, and you can add it to your selected tags. We've also added the option to select your acquisition sampling period as opposed to frequency. And in the process of doing so, we reduced the restrictions on the acquisition frequency. Previously, you were limited to 1 to 1000 hertz. Now you're limited to 1 millisecond, so 1000 hertz, and 1 day, which corresponds to approximately 1 times 10 to the minus 5 hertz. So if you were to enter a period of 0 and start this, you would see your limit here of 1 millisecond and 1 day. And this is for OPC acquisitions, Hawkview acquisitions, equations, as well as imported acquisitions. The next feature that was added is the ability to create live equation tags that run in parallel with the tags that are sampling it with its data. So if I were to restart a couple of acquisitions here and open a new equation, I can create a live equation by checking on the live equation box. And we'll just do a simple, let's not open the database, a simple A plus B. Now, in order to have a live equation, you of course must have live acquisitions tied to its variables. And you can see, you can identify live acquisitions in the time range preview very easily with their ending. So in these cases, it's a square end. So these are not live acquisitions. And if I were to try and start this, throw some tag information in here, it would tell me that unable to start live acquisition using offline variables A, B. If I select the actual live acquisitions, you can see that the end is now an arrow. This indicates that the tags are from a live acquisition. So let's start this with a frequency of 10 hertz to match the lowest frequency that we have. And that looks good. Start. We'll add the tags to the viewer so we can see them all together and do a split zoom and stack. Now we can see that we have 2 live acquisitions on the bottom. We have an equation that's updating in concurrence with our 2 live acquisitions. If you want to stop your equation, you can simply click on the stop button and select the equation. You can stop it in the work tree, right-clicking, stopping. Or if you stop any of the source acquisitions that the equation is using, the equation will itself also stop. If there is a calculation error that occurs during the generation of the equation outputs, the equation will stop, and in the properties window, you will see a warning telling you that there was a calculation error. Currently, calculation errors include negative square roots and divide by 0, which in a practical application should be easy to avoid, but should you encounter an error, that is probably where you should look first. You've probably noticed that the running acquisitions node is missing, and that's because the acquisitions have been all lumped together, with running acquisitions always displayed at the top, indicated by a green marker, and stopped acquisitions with a red marker. Live equations and stopped equations function the same way. If I were to stop this equation, the marker becomes red. Similarly, views and models will have red or green depending on if their source tags are from live acquisitions or not. On the topic of models, we've added the ability to lock pairs so they cannot be moved accidentally. When you generate a new pair, it's automatically unlocked, so you can move it and position it. And once it's in position, you can right-click on your pair and lock it. Note that it only locks the bump or response that you clicked on, and the other one can still freely move. You can unlock them if you found that they're perhaps not in the right place. Or readjust it a little bit and relock it. We've also added the ability to add tags to views simply by right-clicking on the trends. So in this case here, I have one view in my workspace called Matricon Ax, and if I right-click on any of my trends, you'll see an Add to View option, and I can add this to the Matricon Ax, should I choose. So let's add perhaps this one to Matricon Ax, and we'll end up with a similar there we go. Our equation is here. So this was a view that was created with the original, right, with the 2 Ax on the bottom, and the equation now being done much later on the top. If I were to go back to that previous view and right-click on the equation and go to Add to View, the Matricon Ax is grayed out because it's already in that view. I can also add it to a new view, and this will create a new viewer with the view, and the title will be the same as the tag. It's important to note that this view is not saved, and thus I cannot add another trend to this view until I save it. Not found in this menu, but if I were to open the view and save it as Add to Me, I can go back, right-click, and it's now found in the drop-down, and I can add it to that view. The last thing that was added in this version is the ability to change your time access units. So previously they were always locked to seconds, and now you can choose between seconds, minutes, hours, and days. This goes well in conjunction with the removal of the minimum frequency. For instance, you can now import data that was previously sampled at 1 hour or 1 minute, and you can view it in a time scale that's more appropriate. For instance, I can right-click on this one and view it in minutes, and I can see perhaps a better indication of when all this happened. And that is it for what is new in Hawkview Collector 4.1.1.0. If you have found this video helpful, please let us know, and we will continue making them. Thank you.